Hello and welcome back to the She is Courageous podcast. Now today's episode is a little bit different. It's still going to be about mindset. It's still going to be about courageous mindset. But I'm going to talk about AI. Now this is a subject that I've been umming and ahhing about whether I should talk about it. But I feel like as we sit here in 2025, with the speed at which AI is progressing, being utilised, the conversations, etc., I can't not talk about it. So there's a lot of narrative, noise, call it whatever you will, around AI. People are obsessing over it right now. There are many seemingly having figured it all out. There are many that are feeling a little bit fearful of what it means, and a load of us, and I put myself in this camp, sitting somewhere in the middle. Probably, and I would imagine my audience, the people listening right now, are sitting in the middle with me. Probably quietly using AI tools, aware that this is not going away. Pretty sure it's a very, very useful tool, and trying to navigate how to use it to its best potential or how to use it to its best advantage for ourselves. But, and here's the bit that I think perhaps many don't realise is happening, I think there's some potentially questioning ourselves at the same time. Now, there's a bit about questioning ourselves in terms of our ability to pick this up. It feels very futuristic. And as someone that's heading fast for 50, I'm embracing technology, but I'm feeling a bit like, oh my gosh, I remember when the internet was a big deal. Oh gosh, I've just admitted just how old I am. But look, I'm just going to say this right now. I want to put this out at the beginning of this episode. I use AI. I specifically use ChatGPT. I think that's probably the most popular AI tool on the market. I should now say other brands are available. So I'm going to use the term AI right now. I am specifically referencing in most of this episode ChatGPT. But I do use other AI tools, and I'm going to be really honest and open about that. Crikey, this podcast, I absolutely create my own content, write my own content, record my own content. But I use AI tools within the platform I use for the podcast to then create show notes, to create YouTube notes, to create clips. That is all AI. That is all incredible computer generated systems. It's insane. Don't even let me go off on that sidetrack. So there I am. I'm just being really honest. I absolutely use AI. I use AI in my business. I use it in my life. My husband uses it. But I also eye roll at it. Now, I don't eye roll, well, I do sometimes actually at some of the things it says, but I've absolutely looked at what other people are doing, and I have, in judgment, let's be really clear, thought that's AI generated. And I've also sat and wondered for myself, will people think this is AI generated? Will people think that I'm not capable of doing this without AI? And here's the bit that I'm worried about for all of us. And I've asked myself this question on occasion. Am I forgetting how to think for myself? Now that may resonate for you, or I may have just planted a seed, and I'm not even sorry for it. But I do want you to know that you're not on your own. I have had this conversation with clients. So in this age of everybody wanting to know how to use AI, wanting to learn as much as they can around it, I think we also have a little red flag. Now, the vibe around AI is absolutely shifting, okay? We have definitely gone from, this is the future, which, by the way, it still is, to the cynics. If you go on LinkedIn right now, you see a plethora of posts calling out people that are using AI to write posts. There is some humour in that, because there are some where you can blatantly see, well, that's been written by AI. But anyway, you've got people calling out, this sounds like a bot. We've gone from sharing prompts, and there's a lot of people that are sharing prompts, but I think there's a lot of people almost hiding the fact that they're using prompts, that they're using AI. We're watching people post AI-generated content, in some instances rolling our eyes while we're doing the same thing behind the scenes. So we're stuck in this awkward middle place. using the very thing that's meant to help us feel more productive, to leverage technology, maybe even make us feel more confident, but potentially starting to feel a bit more fake. And I am speaking from the heart here because I've definitely had that. I have taken a course and learned from someone that I trust to teach me how to really leverage AI in 2025. But there have been moments where I have thought, this really helps me and I feel much more comfortable and confident creating certain things. But I'm worried that if someone spots it, they might realise what I'm doing. And let's be really clear, I'm not a copy and paste girl, okay? I feel like I'm doing some justification in today's episode, but I think it's really important. Actually, the back and forth I'm having here while I'm talking to you, the conflict of me going, I'm using AI, but actually I'm caveating it with, I'm not a copy and paste girl. That's what I want to talk about. I think we have some inner conflict. I want to dig in today about the mindset, because this is about self-trust. So I am not going to tell you today not to use the tools. In fact, I'd say you're a fool if you're not using the tools. But I do want to dig into the mindset and the self-trust and raise your awareness to where are you using the tools, why are you using the tools, and trusting yourself. Because this is about the moments where you open a document immediately, open ChatGPT, open AI. Because actually you've almost got to a stage where you're not thinking for yourself. Because you don't trust your own voice anymore, because you don't trust your own thoughts, because you're telling yourself that AI will say it better, AI will put it more articulately if I use that tool, and it will do all of those things. But what if you're doing that before you're even giving yourself a chance to think? What if you're doing that so that you don't overthink? What if you're doing that so you don't sound stupid, so that you don't have to worry about the fear of? I remember something that's just come to mind is speaking to someone recently who talked about the universe. Okay, we were talking about the woo stuff and the universe. And I remember having a conversation with her a very long time ago where she originally said, trusting in the universe means actually I don't have to trust myself because I don't want that responsibility. Now, I'm not suggesting that ChatGPT and all of the AI tools are now the new universe, but I am saying there is something a bit similar. If I trust ChatGPT, if I trust AI, I don't have to trust myself quite so much. And that's the watch out. Now, I'm coming from a place where I think I've probably done that. But I want you to ask yourself today, are you using AI and all that it brings to you as a time saver, as an efficiency driver, as an added value, or is it actually self-doubt in disguise? Because when we turn to AI before we turn to ourselves, this is the point, okay? What we're saying is, I don't trust what's in my head. I don't trust what I've got to say. I don't think I've got it right. I don't think I can do it right. I need something else to validate my ideas before I back myself. There was a world before this. And yes, it may have been full of self-doubt, but we were still doing it. When we turn to AI before we turn to ourselves, we are not using strategy. That's perfectionism. That's imposter syndrome. That's fear of judgment, fear of failure. It is exacerbating all of the work that we do on ourselves. It's exactly the stuff we work on here in this podcast, over in the She Is Courageous Collective. So I want to name it. I'm going to say it again. I'm not saying AI is the devil. Do not use it. Of course not. I absolutely utilize the tools that are out there. I am embracing this new wave of technology. But I want you to just consider, have you caught yourself second guessing your own words more lately? Have you written something and thought, well, I'll just run it through the AI filter first? Have you actually not even written something and gone straight to the tool to create for you? Have you shared something and maybe felt a little bit of discomfort, guilt, dare I say it, shame, because you didn't really write it? This is not that AI is bad. It's that I'm calling out, if we're not careful, it messes with our ability to trust our own thinking. I don't want you to outsource your voice. I want you to utilize the tools to enhance your voice, to amplify your voice. I am not getting on my soapbox. I think that the world we're living in right now is incredible. I mean, there's a lot of really bad shit going down, right? But in terms of technology and the speed that things are moving forward, and AI, I mean, I sat the other day having this conversation with my husband and just said, it's insane. It's absolutely insane in the most exciting and terrifying way what is happening in our world today through the lens of AI. I am all for understanding how can this incredible technology enable me to do more in my business, bring more to my business, bring more to my people. How can it help me be even more efficient? How can it help me be even more efficient financially? How can it help me be even more profitable? Absolutely, I want that. More income, more impact. But it's a tool. And that is what I want everyone to remember today. It doesn't know who we are. It doesn't know how we think and feel. Yes, you can train it. And I'm sure at some stage in the future, even those words I just said will not actually be correct. But it doesn't hold your values. You can tell it your values, but it doesn't live and feel your values. It doesn't carry your lived experience. It doesn't carry your energy. It doesn't know your truth. It knows what you tell it. And this is the best thing that the lady who I learned from taught me. She actually said, don't think of it as a computer. Think of it as a human. If you want to really utilize it brilliantly, then think of it like a human, talk to it like a human, help it understand like a human. That's terrifying in itself, okay? But one day, it's going to really act and think like a human. Now, right now, it doesn't do that. What it does is brilliant. What it does is speed, okay? It can, faster than you will ever be able to imagine, go check something out and bring you an answer. It mimics what it finds. It mimics what you tell it to mimic. So yes, you can tell it your tone. You can tell it your values. You can tell it your story. And it will mimic all of those things, but it's still not you. We are not there yet. I don't know if we will be, but we're not yet. There are some incredible tools out there, but they enhance, they amplify, they add value, they support, they are leverage. They are not better than you. They might be faster at going and finding stuff. Great, use it to save your time. AI mimics, AI packages things up, but it doesn't lead. You do. You lead your life. You are still in charge of your brain. Remember, it's the only thing that you have absolute control over. Your brain, your thoughts. Even if you try to download your thoughts into an AI tool, you will never get everything out of that head. So I just want to really ask you to check in today. If you are using an AI tool, go you, so am I. But if you are using an AI tool and you're hiding it, if you are hesitating to hit publish because you're worried someone will say that sounds like AI, if you are forgetting how to create anything without asking AI first, that's a red flag. That's what I want you to think about today. Because you are slowly eroding your own voice, your inner voice, your thoughts, and your voice matters. It doesn't have to be the perfectly structured answer with the best hook and the SEO's keywords. I know we all think it does, but it doesn't. Like if I look, whenever and I'm just going to go off on a tangent for a second, but I absolutely look at the KPIs across my business of everything, right? And I'll tell you what, the best engaged, the best converting post stories, they are always the ones that come really from the heart. They're usually the messiest. They're not brilliantly written. They're the ones that actually get the connection because everyone knows they're real. And the more that this goes on, the more the cynicism will grow and the more people will look for, because I believe people are craving real right now. We're seeing it already. We are seeing, a turn, God dare I say, against the perfect, against the influencer look and feel and style. People are craving real and the courage to be real. In a world that for so long has rewarded perfect, polished speed, the courage to be real, that's real leadership of life. So I always try and give you something practical to think about, to take away from these episodes. And I just really wanted to scratch the surface on AI today. This wasn't about teaching you how to use AI. I would say that I have really learned a lot, and I could probably do something like that. I've also got a couple of people I know actually that I think I will invite onto the podcast, and we'll have a proper conversation about AI. But this podcast has never been about, I will teach you how to do something. It's always been about, I will help you think about how you want to do things and how you shift and change your thoughts so you do the things you want to do. So I want to leave you with 3 questions about AI today. I want you to ask yourself today, when was the last time, or what was the last thing, or have you recently? Basically, what I'm asking is, when was the last time, what was the last thing you didn't even try to do or try to write or try and think through without using AI? And I honestly, I did this last week. I literally went straight to our friend Chatty and stopped myself. And I was like, I haven't even tried. I haven't even thought about this. And it was a response on an email. It was anyway, I won't go into the ins and outs of it, but I wanted some help in terms of how to respond professionally, correctly, and a little bit challengingly. And usually what I would do is I would write something and then I would ask AI to just have a read of it and think like the other person and how that feels. Because, that's really important to me. But actually, in that moment, I went straight there and asked it to do it for me. That's a watch out. So that's the first thing I'd like to ask you, and I'm being really honest there. Then I want you to ask yourself, what do you believe that AI is doing, can do better than you? And really just check in on that. And have a bit of fact check with what it can really do better than you versus what you think it can do better than you. And then I'd love you to just think about, is there any place in your world, be that business or personally, that you are worried, quietly hiding, that someone might find out you used AI? Because if you are, what you are doing there is also building in negative feelings towards yourself. And then come back to those other questions, like what makes you think it will do better than you? If we don't look at this, if we don't check in with how this is affecting our mindset, well, first of all the strategy in the world won't help, okay? But if we don't do this, we are going to very, very subtly let AI hijack our brains, replace our voices, and send us right back down the route of we're not good enough alone, that we're not good enough as we are. So don't get me wrong, I've downloaded some freebies on some great ChatGPT prompts. I've used some of them. But the way that you think, the way that you create, the way that you lead your life, your business, that's not a prompt. That is you. And it is more than enough. So I'll say it again. You can't not engage and use and understand what AI is bringing to our world. I heard someone on the stage said, AI won't replace you, but someone who knows how to use it could and probably will. I stand by that. But the key words there are knowing how to use it to add value, to amplify you, to lift you, not to be you. Not yet. So I would love to know what this brought up for you. I would love to know, how are you using AI in your business? Does it get you thinking about, am I becoming too reliant on AI? Because that's the bit I'm worried about for everyone. If we become too reliant, it's like when I talk about comparison, the more we compare, the more we lose our own voice. If we become completely reliant on AI, we will lose sight of ourselves. So let me know what this brings up for you. I would love you to drop me a DM and let me know what it gets you thinking about. And if you think that someone else needs to hear today's message, do not let AI hijack your brain. Don't let it replace your voice. You are good enough. Then please do share this episode with them. And if you want to unpack more of this, if you want to take it to the next level, then come join us in the She Is Courageous Collective. First and foremost, we have absolutely got a guest expert masterclass on how to use AI in your business. But equally, we do not outsource our voices. We absolutely hold on to our thoughts, our voices, our brains, and utilize them for courage to do the things we want to do. So if you want to be part of the She is Courageous Collective, the link is in the show notes. I would love to welcome you in. For now, I shall see you next time on the She is Courageous podcast.